Welcome to our channel. Today we're tackling a provocative and timely topic. Dele Farotimi, a respected public analyst, has made a bold claim: Nigeria is under dictatorship. This assertion has sparked intense debate and discussion among Nigerians. But what evidence supports Faromi's statement, and what implications does this have for the country's democracy and future? Let's dive into it.
Let me tell you what happened in the week that was. We were told in very clear terms, very, very clear, no more pretense, no stories. Nigeria is now a dictatorship. We've had aspiring dictatorship, to be certain. I assure you, verily, verily, that if brother Babangida had had his way, he would certainly have been a life president. But even in the age of the military, there were checks, Society still had norms, and society has not collapsed. Some people still had voices. They were busy advocating. Now, they are reprobating and approbating. Truth is no longer truth. It has become subjective. Can you hear the loud silence in our land? All our erudite men and women of God, the pastors and imams, all the ones that were speaking loudly, Lord have mercy. One would have thought that Jonathan, if you think back now, you go back to the years of Jonathan, and you remember all the people who were vibrating. All of a sudden, truth is no longer truth. Or when they presume to speak it, they speak a twisted form of the same truth. Lord have mercy. Who would have thought that we would ever find ourselves in a situation where the president, whose own legitimacy is constantly questioned, would take the Constitution, copiously cite the section he presumes to be working with, and go ahead and do the exact opposite. And then in the very public space, you will witness let me be very clear. I had no positive expectation of our Senate or the reps in relation to this or anything else for that matter. But I had imagined that based on the extent of impunity that was deployed, that the average one amongst them would understand that it is in their own enlightened selfish interest. Forget about me and you. We are their victims, right? It's either you are aware or you are unaware, but we are the victims. But you would think that turkeys will not vote for Christmas. These turkeys in the National Assembly just voted for Christmas. Didn't they see Lagos? Did they look? Do they understand the fact that what they have actually done is that every one of them have just shown every one of us that they are inconsequential? A man blatantly and flagrantly urinates on the fraud that has sustained this lie, and all you lot could do was maybe a bit, if you one of them here and there impotently wailing because they are justly knowing that they can't afford to be found on the wrong side of this history. But beyond that, what has happened? Oh yeah, I'm very quick usually to knock the Nigerian Bar Association. Well, Alaji Osigwe, if you keep doing what you're doing right now, perhaps you'll still find a few of us who would stop being so ashamed to be associated with our profession. Thank you very much. Thanks. At least somebody spoke. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. NBA is not just, everything is always about leadership. It was that same NBA that was led in the years when Ford were coming first. That same NBA was largely silent for a long time. But hey, now when you wake, now you day break. Yorubas have this funny program, and it just got shown fully in the week that was. They say that ìlú tí kò sí òfin, ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ kò sí. The land where the law does not rule, there can be no crimes. That is the Yoruba program. And I realized that they probably had modern day Nigeria in mind, because Yoruba land did not exist inside this perversion. It existed as a viable entity on its own before this perversion was foisted on all of us. But that it has remained a perversion is our own fault, not the fault of those who cobbled us together, gave us all the contradictions to fight with. Are these contradictions beyond our capacity? But the week that was so full of, well, it was full of a lot of distractions, but I think the most important thing we need to pay attention to in the week that is that we're dealing with a dictatorship. This is not a situation that evolved yesterday. And this is why Festus Adedayo's column in today's Tribune is of particular importance to anyone who is trying to have an understanding of the reflexes and impulse of this administration. You're not dealing with the typical Nigerian politician who just wants to steal money. Now, you're dealing with a malevolent force, not just a man, it's a mindset that has little or no respect, in fact, zero respect for rules. I'm not talking just laws, for rules. The rules of engagement are constantly fluid. It's like when you're dealing with the 48 laws of power, if you've read it, it talks about becoming formless. That is the level of all-permeating evil that has overtaken our country. And it's not about one man. It's always easy to point at Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but you forget that there is a structure that holds the system. He has merely inherited a structure, but that structure was always susceptible to criminality, to impunity, and it has always been criminal and full of impunity. Bola Ahmed was not the one in the office when people were murdered in cold blood at Lekki Tollgate. It wasn't him, but it was the system. All that has happened is that a man whose temperament fits the system has taken over power. Obasanjo is a learner where this man is. You better believe that. Obasanjo still has pretensions of civility. This one, not send anybody. You better get that into your head.
As we've seen, Farotimi's assertion is rooted in concerns about the country's democratic institutions, human rights, and the rule of law. Whether you agree with Farotimi's view or not, it's undeniable that Nigeria faces significant challenges in its democratic journey. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more content on Nigerian politics, governance, and social issues.